anybody could get married in this country. The only condition is that you not already be married and that you be straight. Those are the only two conditions.
And then we went to this, what was the name of that terrible little, okay, it was a Zayre's department store, like a Target, a poor man's Target or something.
Yeah, really.
And they had a bin of silverware for like 10 cents a piece, so we're in there buying forks and knives.
Spoons and knives. We were much younger then, things didn't matter that much. We moved into the first night in this apartment, we both smoked at the time, and we realized we had no ashtray, and without thought, I mean, without any serious thing, it was like, well, then we need to go get a 6-pack of beer, so we'll have empty bottles for ashtrays. And that made perfect sense to us then, but that's what young, stupid people will do.
Well, that's what you do when you just get out of college.
The Bible's very clear that homosexuality is improper behavior, so if you go to the trouble of identifying yourself with something the Bible calls a sin, I'd really have to question your faith commitment.
I grew up in a very small town and was part of an extremely religious family, very devout Southern Baptist family, and realized from a quite young age that there was something different about me. It took me a long time to put a name on what that difference was.
We were working at the same place. I was very, very, very deeply closeted, and Susan was not terribly deeply closeted, and she had me figured out in 10, 15 minutes. And it took me a couple of months probably. I remember the first time we went to break, and I was really amazed because she had her money in a wallet in her back pocket, and I was just blown away by that. I was like, oh my God, I think she's one of them, and she's not even hiding it. And we had great fun.
Yeah, this was all in 1981. I had graduated from college in May and joined this market research company that was just getting started in Greensboro. And Wendy was already there, and so like from day one, I'm looking at Wendy going, well, interesting.
I had no idea it would be the case.
They began attending church here. I think they found out about our church through a friend. Our church had been open in terms of membership to gays and lesbians for a number of years before they came. And so a number of folks had joined, and others were attending, and they began to visit. And I think they found out that the church genuinely meant it wanted to be open and felt safe. And I think from their point of view, it was reclaiming some part of their roots, which almost atrophied from disuse over many, many years.
We started off initially hoping that the church would not have to take a vote on this. We wanted this to be something where the church would just say, it's okay if we've got members who want to do this, it'll be okay. I think the rub really came down to there being members who basically it came down to a kind of an ownership of the clergy.
There came a point when we had a church conference, for the purpose of actually voting on a proposal, whether we were going to proceed or not specific with them. This was a general policy of the church. And it was a very difficult meeting. It was very, very difficult.
The church wasn't going to do anything until they had the issue in front of them to deal with it. They were not going to deal with the
they were going to deal with the abstract. They wanted a couple to be in front of them making the request. And so it was at that point that we said, okay, here we are.
Okay, it's us.
We would like to do this.
Is a same-sex union ceremony moral or immoral? Ought it to be allowed in Christian tradition?
We are an autonomous Baptist church on the campus of Wake Forest University. Every other Baptist church I know about is in its own building somewhere. It's on a street corner. It's First Baptist Church of this town or whatever. And it can decide whatever it wants to do about what it does because it owns the building. We don't own this building. We have been here since the beginning of the school. As a matter of fact, there has been an autonomous Baptist church on the campus of Wake Forest College since the second year of the school back in the 1830s. This is a very, very long tradition, which the university has honored for 150, whatever, 170 years now almost.
They've decided, yes, we want to allow this ceremony to happen. Now, the administration's come in and said, well, you know, we don't believe that this is within the realm of traditional Christianity or some such thing, and therefore we're not going to allow it.
We picketed them over that. Right after that backslidden, worthless heretic preacher that called it Wake Forest Baptist Church. It's over in Winston-Salem. And
Right, we've actually interviewed two girls who are having.
and when are they going to do that? These sons and daughters of Abraham have backslidden. That's a good Bible term. They've apostatized. It means they've fallen away from the faith of their fathers. Look at this, would you? These people don't believe in him.
A school founded by Southern Baptists could soon be host to a commitment ceremony between two women. The decision, which comes almost after a year of debate and protest, is upsetting a lot of Wake Forest grads.
Since talk of same-sex unions began nearly 5 years ago, the church has been removed from the membership of both the North Carolina Baptist State Convention and the Pilot Mountain Association.
The campus blew up. The students responded in wonderful ways in support of the church.
Hi, we're from SAFE. We're bringing out a petition about the same-sex union problems that we're having right now with Wake Forest. We were wondering if you would sign it. Your signature shows that you support our anti-discrimination statement and the church's autonomy.
By 11 o'clock, the steps of Whitechapel were covered with flowers. Posters were up as high as you could reach, up those 6 big columns out there. And it was just very, very, very moving.
I think, first of all, the ministers ought to resign and go get them an honest job. They're there under the pretense of being a minister of the gospel, and they're denying the very book they're supposed to be defending. And I think if the university wants to do that, they need to dissolve themselves of all religious affiliation.
Anytime an institution of higher education assumes the title of university, that it assumes the responsibility to be open and available to all students.
This is a very aggressive movement to silence opponents of homosexuality, to make it more expensive and more trouble than it's worth to stand up for traditional morality. So I see the gay rights movement as the greatest threat to freedom America's facing right now.
When two people are in love and are prepared to take on responsibility for each other, and that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about some free ride. We're talking about people pledging themselves to be legally, financially responsible for each other as a mark of their commitment. I think that enhances the stability of society. I think that's a very important option. Not everybody wants it, but for people who have it, I think it's good for them and good for the society.
What they should do is forthwith terminate that preacher and everybody else that's of that kind.
The glare of publicity is really difficult for a congregation to deal with.
The university has formally asked Wake Forest Baptist Church not to conduct same-sex union ceremonies in university facilities.
Oh, I can't imagine what it was like for them. I cannot imagine what it was like.
That the news department at the station was not to cover anything other than the trustee's statement. They were not to talk to any other parties involved in this. And as soon as the news department personnel heard this, they understood completely what this meant.
The same-sex controversy at Wake Forest University led to charges of censorship at the school's public radio station. A Wake University vice president asked reporters at WFDD to only refer to official school statements when broadcasting the story.
And after months of controversy, there's now been a decision on a same-sex ceremony on Wake Forest campus.
Wake Chapel will allow the ceremony to take place, but the chaplain says they still don't approve of it.
Welcome. We did it. They're here.
Wedding is two people pledging to one another. Everybody else is simply a witness. But I had never thought of it that way, but that gave me new eyes to think about what's going to happen here. And that is two people pledging themselves and everyone else witnessing and everyone else offering their support. Here we have two people who have committed themselves to one another and who have shared a life of love and commitment for many, many years. I mean, this is not just starting. I mean, this is not the equivalent of a quote, marriage ceremony where we're at the beginning. We're coming in midstream. This is a relationship that's gone a very long time.
I think it speaks to the fact. I think it speaks to the fact that our worship services and perhaps our weddings are too serious. What do you think?
Oh, golly. Not straight people. They have no sense of humor.